Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Outside the Fox episode 4, where we talk all things TCG, video games, anime, and just anything that interests us pretty much at all. So I'm joined together by my co-host, Xavier Quinones.
Happy Friday.
Myself, Spencer Clark. And we're just going to jump right into it as always. And how about you start us off today, buddy?
Okay. All right. So I think the big one's Grand Theft Auto 6. Second trailer came out. It looks amazing. It looks fantastic in such a stark difference. I want to see all of the people who were trash talking GTA 6 when all the alpha build leaks happened.
Yes.
I would love to see their reaction. I wish I could see their live reaction. Some people still said it looks like garbage, and it's like, this is going to be a massive open world, ridiculous game. Like, how are you not praising this? I thought it looked amazing.
Whatever I was watching the other day, I actually thought they were like at a release party. I didn't realize it was the clip because I'm not trying to like put too much on it, but I actually thought it was so realistic that I actually was like, oh my God, that's actually the game trailer. Like I didn't even realize it because it was like people in a swimming pool or something. And I was like, it literally took me like a second. I'm like, oh my God, that's the game. I was like, that's insane. But I think it's just kind of like one of those great games to highlight like how far we've came if you have the budget. If you had like a humongous budget to just do whatever you want, like a Red Dead 2, like kind of GTA 6, and
the rumor is this is $2 billion. They're deep in this budget, so I don't.
That's one I would love to see, like a VR tag along version of it. Like,
oh my God.
It doesn't have to be now. Yeah, because could you imagine like if they just are able to keep, because like people still talk about Red Dead 2, like on if you fully max out the this is gonna be one of those games that I think years from now people are gonna be like, oh my God, it looks.
Yeah, if Nakey Jakey's definitely gonna do a couple videos on this, dude. Like he did it. He had such praise for Red Dead 2, and he did such a like breakdown of his love for Red Dead. So if he makes a video, GTA made it. Like
how many remasters and ports of 6 do you think we're getting?
Oh my.
After it finally comes out.
Oh, this is gonna be a 25-year game. Especially if the online hits like GTA 5, we're done. Like this is it.
Gone.
Yeah.
I could see it like a Fortnite-ish kind of. I'm waiting for that moment where they were just like, this is GTA forever, and like we're just continual updates and like, I mean, there is a point of graphics. I mean, like, and I don't know if you can just add to the story. I think that's another interesting thing is like streaming games like that, like just adding to it, like live service games. And I know PlayStation's obviously tried, but I think it takes getting the right formula down and the right audience. But I think that's a model worth having. I've been waiting for like Mario Kart for Nintendo to be one. I could see like just games where you could just like almost like Splatoon. I've been surprised that they've done physicals of Splatoon.
Well, I mean, Splatoon has been such a massive game for them, and I think it was a surprise to everybody. I was excited from the moment that trailer like popped up and I first saw it, including that annoying song. Like everything hit just right for me. And, but when Splatoon 2 came out, I think it was 2 or 3, where they said literally like 3 or 4% of all of Japan bought a copy. Like, I'm surprised they haven't done some sort of live service with Splatoon, but I think Nintendo's a little weird about the whole live service thing. But I mean, that's massive. But I like live service, but again, it does have to be the right thing.
Right game,
I'm glad that Sony was just like, hey, this God of War live service, let's just go ahead and get rid of it. Like, what were you thinking?
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's weird.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody did until it was just cut, and it was like, what?
That's a story. To me, that's a very story-driven game, like a single player, which I 100% like. You need to keep those. They're games where I don't interact with people. I don't interact with online audience. I'm having fun with the story and the characters, and it's a self-contained experience. Like, it doesn't have to always be online. I get it because online's kind of like the moneymaker these days. Like, they figured out ways for like microtransactions and skins and different things they can kind of get with you on passes. Fortnite has like the pass, the monthly pass.
The battle pass.
Battle pass, yeah. So like, I think it's obviously if they can get you locked into some kind of subscription model, that is the future. Continual, renewable. Like money, like, hey, every month I get $5, $10, $15, no matter what. And most people forget about that. It's like the gym membership you forget about until 2 years later, and you're like cleaning out your wallet, and you're like, oh crap, I forgot about this, like whatever it was, and like
that's where my abs went. Damn it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Like it's just a weird situation overall. I think a lot of live service depends, like it preys on people's FOMO, and that's something that people really like. The whole battle pass thing really is like, it's a surprise when people are like, oh, the battle passes, you can just complete it at your own pace. Be like, oh, wait, what? Because FOMO is a thing. Like you've got a month to get this battle pass done, or you're not getting anything in part of it. So I don't I don't think GTA Online does that now, but I'm going to predict that they're going to do something like that going forward.
Yeah.
Shark cards and all that.
Something.
Yeah, but they still haven't unveiled what the online component is going to be. I would think it's a whole new system. I don't know if any of your stuff will carry over. I doubt it because they want people to buy GTA 6. So
didn't Five bank $1 billion? I believe, and I believe it was like somewhere. Like I remember when it came out, it was like off the wall. Like, and of course, like we can maybe fact check this later, but like I believe it made like an enormous sum. I remember like when it first came out, and that's probably what they're banking on. I mean, the demand, the hype. I mean, I just love the memes where it's like when GTA 6 finally comes out and it's like we're all like, you know, all old guys. Like, yeah, 5's like we're like younger than 6. It's kind of like having Elder Scrolls 6, you know, where you're just like, oh yeah, you know, like yippee. And breaks, you know, like you're hitting.
I saw a TikTok today where this guy was like, "Oh, when GTA 6 come out, this is how serious it is," and he holds up a picture on his phone of like a little baby in his arms, and then like GTA 5's on there. He's like, "This is how serious it is," and he pulls the phone away, and his daughter's like almost fully grown. He's like, "You see this? This is how long it's been."
That's why I think when 6 comes out, it's going to be like you said. I mean, 25 years sounds crazy, but I could almost, if they spend enough money, if they do enough upgrades, I definitely see them milking that absolute dog out of this. Like,
oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They are going to milk this thing hard.
Well, that's if it pops off, because that was one thing they really were trying to push hard with Red Dead 2. They knew Red Dead 2 was going to sell.
Oh, the online,
you know, gangbusters, but that online flopped hard right out of the gate, and it's just been completely unsuccessful. I think they completely dropped development on it, from what I understand. So if they screw this up, oh man, Take-Two is just gonna. Oh man, oof.
You think it'll make them fold? You think they'll have like serious cutbacks?
No, I don't. I think there'll definitely be some sort of like internal, like, you know, chopping heads kind of thing. I don't think it'll be anything public facing, but I think that because $2 billion, if that isn't a real number, $2 billion, but you're also banking on the online bringing in that kind of money, forget it. Yeah. You know, it'd be like if Blizzard came out with another World of Warcraft, but everything about the online interaction sucked. Oh my god! I think, you know, internally heads would roll. So I don't know.
I think definitely like the remakes, remasters, the inevitable, all that will help some. I'm sure it's helped GTA 5 become even more profitable. I'm one of those people. Bailey and I just played it like last year.
Oh,
I'm like, what is that? Like 10, 11 years later, I'm finally just played 5, and I was like, wow, this is really good. Like I played it on, I think it was the 5 I picked up the 5 version, like PS5. So I mean, like, because I believe it came out PS3 originally, so I'm 2 generations ahead. So I mean, there are people like me, weirdly enough, that have not picked. You'd think I'd pick that up, but I hadn't even played 4. So if they do, which leads into my next point, like the remake, remaster, I've heard of 4. Now today, so not a whole lot of details. I didn't even get to see if it was a remake or more of a remaster.
Yeah.
But it would explain, obviously, there's so much that these companies are cooking that, like, whenever we're like, where's the Elder Scrolls, like, you know, like 6, I'm like, oh, well, we didn't know about the Oblivion, remake or remaster.
Yeah.
So, like, they've got things, like, they're cooking up that I'm like, that makes sense. You didn't have all, like, you know, ceilings. It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts 3. We're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And then, point 2 drops. And then there's, like, Dream Drop Distance, I believe, popped in. And then, like, just all the different games, all the different experiences they've had. Like, the mobile game. I mean, it's just been a bunch of, like, I don't even know when 4. I think this time 4 won't be such a huge jump. But I like studios, we don't actually know kind of what they're cooking most times.
Yeah, so unless it's like leaked ahead, or they're like the rumor mill becomes like a thing. Like Oblivion, we'd heard about for a long time.
Okay,
supposedly, you know what I mean, but it wasn't confirmed until like a week before it released.
Yeah, his shadow dropped just about. I remember everyone was
just
like,
like, hey, you know what I mean? But like supposedly there was like, oh yeah, it's next week, guys, and it's just like what? And then it happened. They're like, oh okay. So it was like the industry's worst kept secret at certain points. GTA 4, I liked it. The Nico bowling thing is a meme for a reason. That annoyed me so much. Roman would call you constantly. It's just like, oh my god, it was annoying. But I still enjoyed it. It was more of a serious tone, and it dealt with like the whole like immigrant situation and all that stuff. So I don't know if that's going to be topical, if they're going to play into that. I mean, it's not like they're going to add content, but you know, I don't know if that's going to be a talking point for people. But I enjoyed it for what it was.
I mean, I'll say sometimes those games when they put them back out, either it's like dated and you're like, okay, this is like a timestamp of that period, or sometimes, like you said, it can be relevant to the modern time, and you're like, oh, this is kind of like we need to listen to this or hear this, this message. So I guess that's what makes the difference between timeless and just kind of like a.
But I think also a lot of Grand Theft Autos actually have a lot of like immigration, kind of like topics, because like 3 dealt, the typical stereotypical like Italian thing, you know what I mean? But like, and it's the old country and all that stuff, and then 4, Nico and his history. I don't think that'll be like the main thing that they're going to try to sell it on, but it is an interesting topic, especially in the current political climate that we're in right now.
Yeah.
But that story is really good, and then even like the dating part, I remember they really kind of went over the top with the whole date. It's just dating, guys. You know what I mean? Because like the whole hot coffee thing that happened with 3, so they really leaned in like, oh, it's a romance. Don't worry about it. And that it was a really good aspect of it. It was fun. I wonder if they'll keep the swing set thing. So there was like a glitch you can do where if you take a vehicle and you back into the swing set, even though it didn't move or really do anything, eventually it would just launch you across the map. So
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll patch that or if they'll just leave it as is. That's the one thing that I hate about remasters or remakes, where they're just like, oh, this fun thing, sorry, not anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, really? Like,
I miss the ridiculous cheat codes where you'd be like, I'm on a flying car, or I'm like on a bombs, or I can remember like Hulk Ultimate Destruction, like where you felt that versatility. Like, I could do anything. I could take a car and make it into a fist or golf club with a pole. I love that, like where the environment down to the smallest thing is like interactable, and you can just do so much. Like, I hope they leave that in. Cheat codes is where I miss those. I just really do. Like, you could say it's like outdated, but like it's not really. I think if they did it in the modern games, like, I get it, because before it was a little bit hard. You had like guides, and you had to go to the grocery store or somewhere, and I remember them having those little books, and you flip through, and you either write them down or you would like just buy that, whatever. I miss that though. Like, I get it, because the internet kind of like, and I don't really know the back end of this. I don't know if companies sold the cheat codes to those companies and then said like, "Hey, we'll print them," and then they get. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a whole different side. I'm thinking about. I'm like, what made it worth? How did they even know the cheat codes?
Well, I think back in the day, supposedly, I don't know, it's just what I heard, is like developers would put in those cheat codes in order for developers and game testers to like, hey, I just need to get to this thing real quick, and hey, God mode, so that kind of. That's supposedly that's what it was for. But some of them were really weird, like big head mode. Like, what does that contribute to you helping develop a game? So I think a lot of that was just for fun and whatnot. So I don't know. I wish they were still in there. That'd be amazing. And not just a microtransaction. You can just pay a mode or something, Big
character unlocked? Yeah. $1.99.
Yeah, $1. Like, oh, you want a skin? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I get that. Nickel and dimed, man. And that's the kind of going into that, like, I'll just leave with the Series X to our next point. The price increases. I felt it coming. I've been hearing whispers. We talked about Nintendo. Like, everyone kind of roasted Nintendo for their prices, dropped the prices, It's a great moment to get into the conversation. Like, hey, Nintendo took the brunt of the heat at first. So, like, hey, I felt like if Xbox had led instead of Nintendo and said, like, hey, we're doing price increases, it'd have been the opposite, because, like, I feel like Xbox has gotten some heat, but I don't feel like as much. And now, at this point, I'm almost waiting for Sony to be like, let me go ahead. Maybe they won't. I don't know.
I think Sony will. I think Microsoft. I think if Microsoft would have led that charge, they would have just burned down Microsoft. I think people just went there to watch it and just burned it down, because Microsoft already gets a lot of hate. Yes. Some of it very much warranted, but man, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, a PS5 digital or a Series S, like, what are you going to pick? You know what I mean? The fact that the S is pretty much that price now, and the X is $600. What are you bringing to the table for $600?
That's was my point. It was like, the value isn't there. And here's the thing: is like, if she was on their foot, it was Sony. I could almost understand, because like they used to have this like camera and TV empire, like picture, movies, records, all that, right? They used to be, but they're still, if you look at their footprint, like financially compared to Microsoft's, I don't know the exact number. I'm just going to say a third, a quarter, a half. Microsoft compared to Sony in general is like massive. I've heard like the cloud, like PCs, just every window, all the things, all the places they have their hand in the pie, crazy, like huge. I mean, so it's like it felt weird that Microsoft did that more than Sony to me.
Yeah,
like,
I honestly thought because it was generally known that Microsoft was just eating themselves when it came to console sales. Like it was not profitable. They don't care. Just keep making it because in the leaked. In the court, not even leaked, in the court cases, there were emails where they were like, we need to bury Sony, throw as much money as possible.
Yeah.
So for them to just be like, oh, God, raise the price instead of just eating it until Sony caves, that was very surprising. $600 for Series X. What are we doing? The only redeemable aspect is still Game Pass. That is still their biggest thing to me. Like, when people come into the store, hey, I'm trying to be budget conscious. I always tell them, look, get a Series S and Game Pass. That is the cheapest entryway to having as many games as possible for as little money as possible.
Yeah.
Now that's a hard sell.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it's getting easier to where it's like, hey, if you already own a PS5, just wait. You're going to get Gears of War.
Yeah.
That's coming to, and that's like one of those ones I never, because every time you and I would watch the Microsoft showcase we'd always be like, all right, let's go ahead and write down our bingo sheet. We got Gears of War, Halo, Forza.
Yep.
Something. I remember like the year Cuphead had come out. It was such a big deal because it was like, whoa, something totally different and off the wall and cool and Scalebound. I go back to that one all the time because back before they bought all those studios, and I was like, wow, we're getting a game that's like, holy crap. Now that they bought all those studios, it's like not as unexpected, but they haven't really done. That's another thing. It's like they've bought all these studios, they've done all this work. And you just haven't, and like they've said, games are it's a hard business.
Yeah.
And like Game Pass, they've said they've had to, I think now they're finally, it's like Amazon. Like how many years, I think it was was it not till recently Amazon, last 7 or 8, 9 years that Amazon finally hit profitability. Like investors, one of the rare companies where investors just kept dumping money into Amazon.
Yeah.
Kept saying they're going to be, and now obviously they are. And I guess that's maybe the Microsoft point is people are like, hey, Game Pass, when it finally hits, it's going to be, it's going to flip from being like a unprofitable to like, hey, we're making money. And now everyone's like, oh, hey, we're good. We're locked in. Now let's just get the profits from this subscription from now on.
I think it was tough too because Microsoft always, I always championed Xbox and Microsoft because they were the underdogs. They came in and already pretty brutal scene.
Yeah.
As far you have Nintendo, which is a juggernaut, and then Sony again with PlayStation. What an absolute monster that from the start that was.
Yeah.
Into a space that's dominated already by console makers, and their first console was just here's a PC, and it was 17 stories tall, and the controller was just massive. So I always champion them. But when they keep doing stuff like this, it's insane. You spent $170 billion on studios, and they just weren't cranking anything out. There's no plan in place. And another thing too is where are all of the exclusives?
Yeah, I know. I'm still waiting.
That's insane to me. Sony is constantly bam, bam, bam. And to be fair, there is a meme with Sony and PlayStation and the third person protagonist action kind of thing, you know what I mean? But it's still more than what Microsoft was churning out. They weren't, and then they were oh, here, and then it's it's actually not exclusive. And you're dude, what's the point?
I mean, I feel this, if you're going to have a console that expensive, give us, it's either two things. Either your console's cheaper, I can get you in the homes, I can get you break in. Maybe don't have a whole lot of games, but the games you got are really good. Yeah. Or it's price is high, but I've got a lot of great games. You know what I mean? Just something. One of the paths, I feel not having a lot of good games, a large range of games, and having the price that high, it's a no-win. And I mean, for me, the saga of Xbox is did okay on the original 360, slayed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. Sony came in way too cocky with PS3.
Oh yeah.
They definitely won out. They had a momentum in their court. And it's a lot of people do this, where I'm worried, I was worried about going into Switch 2, what would Nintendo do? Would it be a Wii U kind of thing? Cocky from a huge win to guys, what I mean? And this one, you can see they didn't move that much. They didn't do a lot. A lot of people said very un-Nintendo move.
Yeah.
But it's a safe move. It's a move that it's just really a power upgrade for the original Switch, really, with a magnetic rail. So you don't addresses the biggest issues, adds a little bit of feature out, the mouse thing and some stuff.
Yeah.
That's a safe bet. But going back to Xbox, they went they went to Xbox One with the Kinect, like forced Kinect, no digital, like no physical games, digital, all this and that. And they lost a lot of the goodwill and favor that they had with Xbox One. Exclusives, like you said, just kind of, and that, from what I remember, the sales for Xbox One were like half of PS4. And PS4, I remember the first year or two was kind of bare, but after they started cranking, PS4, like I remember so easy to recommend games. So many games. I'm like, oh yeah, this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I thought Series X would turn that around. I remember I actually bought my first Xbox with the Series X, thinking like, okay, but when they bought Bethesda at that time, I was like getting ready for Elder Scrolls 6, which I'm now 5 years later, and I'm like, I ended up selling it like a year or two later because like The Medium, great game. I was like, ooh, that's cool. We're getting a horror game, kind of a little bit Silent Hill-esque, but it ended up going to PS5.
Yep. And
I literally was like, I get people get mad about the exclusives, but in the age of PC, it's like you kind of have to have those. Like you need, as much as people say they're outdated, it's now I'm like, that's what sells the consoles.
That's really what sells the consoles. Like, why am I going to buy your machine? And it's like, oh, so I could play the same games everybody else has? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I can, contemplate in my head that Microsoft is like, all right, Series X, $600 and all that, is that they're doing the whole, everything's an Xbox. Just get a controller, your TV can stream Xbox.
Yeah.
They're coming out with that handheld and game sticks and all this stuff where you can just play anywhere. Play on your phone and all that. You know what I mean? But I don't know a lot of people who love to stream games. I don't like streaming games. I want to play Infamous 1 and 2 that was stuck on the PS3 because of the cell processor. You'd have to rebuild everything from the ground up. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't play those, because it's just, I don't like streaming. If you don't have the greatest internet in the history of mankind, you're not having a good time, especially if it's very action-based or action-heavy. Turn-based, fine. Strategy, fine. But if you're going to play an action game, there's no way.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only angle that I can see. Microsoft is like, well, we'll raise prices, we'll sell consoles or whatever, but our focus is going to be on the future where everything's an Xbox, including maybe PlayStation or Nintendo. So I don't know.
It's difficult. I definitely think like they need to just kind of like reevaluate their like company culture, their like brand, like what is our goal here? Because I feel like obviously I can see it. The goal is like drop. I think get out of the I mean, I know it's kind of a hot take. You know what?
Go for it.
But a warning out. Get out of the console making process.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can tell you don't want to be there. Your ultimate goal is in like probably 5 to 10 years. You like I said, you're on TV, even on PlayStation, even on Nintendo. Does not matter. Your games there. I mean, like Sega did it, and they're doing pretty good now. Like Platinum Games, from what I've heard, like Atlas and Platinum kind of hold them up even better. They're doing fantastic. It's a fantastic. But I mean, you got the consoles. You ever got? Well, what I'm saying is, you've already got the studios.
Yeah.
You've bought all the studios. You've got your Platinum. You've got your Atlas. You're a big console maker. You kind of have those like connections. Maybe look for a Sega like if it doesn't go well. Maybe they'll continue going. Game Pass is pretty cool. I think if they just doubled down and said like, listen, we need to focus on what makes Xbox. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would say. Like I definitely think the ball was more in their court for Series X than it was for Xbox One because they lost a lot of that goodwill favor. Like,
oh my gosh, big time.
The failure rates on the power bricks for the first generation.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
I'm surprised that 360 did as well as they did it with the Red Ring of Death. Like the fact that, like, even just the other day, again, 54% of 360s failed. And I'm shocked that people said, I'm sticking around with this and I'm going to keep going. You know what I mean?
Well, they had the games. They had exclusive games. They had, I think at the time, they had really good project leads and everything that kept everything together and tight and just said, all right, here, let's just make a great product. And then, boom, they put it out. And it was greatly received. Yeah. It wasn't, the market was different then, too. These days, a developer can just put out garbage, literally just dump it on there and just, we have a day one patch, guys. Don't worry about it. And we can fix it later. I think that's also part of it. Another reason why Xbox is not doing well is that they don't have a lot of good leaders there to I don't know personally. I'm just speculating here. That just don't keep things in line and tight. That's why everything gets canceled or pushed back or whatever. I mean, I also think one of the biggest setbacks for them was Scalebound. I still hear people.
That's still the one I think about all the time.
Everybody was just like, "Oh, why? Why was that? Can't people are still bothering Kami about it?" It's just like Scalebound was like the tipping point. That was like the splitting in the timeline right there. It was like Scalebound. All right,
if they had chosen, maybe the conversation would be totally different. And like right now, it'd be like, Lucid Xbox was the best. They've always been the best. Like in this alternate time,
Sony would be going, "Dang it!" Like,
yeah, I'm like, Sony just went up on their consoles. Like, what the, like,
yeah. Oh, Sony's got another console out. I didn't know. Xbox over here with Scalebound. Like,
I mean, I will say Bethesda is probably like on their best.
Yeah.
Like that's their Atlas, their platinum games. Like that's their ace in the hole. Like that was a very other than Activision. Of course, that's like a no duh.
oh yeah.
But like Bethesda, as far as like IP, like Fallout's got season 2 coming out. I mean, it's just like you've got stuff like Elder Scrolls. Like it's just like people love Bethesda games. Like a Rockstar Take-Two kind of setting. Like people just love anything almost Rockstar comes out with gold.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, people eat it up, and as a matter of fact, it's like the whole it's a feature, it's not a bug, and people embrace that fully when it comes to Bethesda in every aspect. Starfield had issues, but people are still like, "Oh my gosh, like I love this. This is amazing."
The best.
Yeah, and people are still enjoying it. And there's so many bug compilations and glitch compilations with all the Bethesda games, but people just still it has a following. It's a very cult like fan base, and I'm kind of scared when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out with how people. But I mean, Oblivion was great. I loved Oblivion. I love Morrowind. I wish they would redo that.
They might. It might be again those hidden games we were talking about, like where it's like a remake, remasters heading in the wings, and like we'll get a shadow drop in like 2-3 years from now. It's like, oh, maybe when we're just like at our hungriest point, and it's like just give us a little. I'm just my brother and me last, like I didn't talk about this last time, but like maybe this is all just an attempt by Todd Howard in the background of the shadows to have a. He's figuring out how to get another Skyrim remaster remake out there. And he's got this huge just map out there plotted out. And he's like, listen, Oblivion's a star. And like there's like a complicated pathway. And the ending is just, how do I get one more Skyrim remake remaster out there before 6? Like, because I swear it's coming. I'm waiting on it. Just like GTA 5.
Yep.
There's going to be something like a VR some crazy console we're experiencing. He's like, we're putting it out for this.
It's just Charlie with the board and always sunny, just like, listen, it's Todd Howard.
That's Todd Howard. He's got this at the end goal. There is one more remake, remaster.
One more.
And he's just got this long pathway to get there. It's what he's trying to get to.
And Elder Scrolls 6 is just a reskin Skyrim.
He's
like, one more time.
He's getting us there. Because I've already seen the comments. Oh man, that Oblivion got this remake, remaster. Like, how would Skyrim look with this? And I'm like, guys, I love Skyrim. Like, disclaimer on this, but I want to play 6. I want to see 6 before I die.
Yeah,
I want to be able to pick it up, and be like, oh, I actually want to be able to like play it. It'd be cool to see 7 before I die. Like, like I would
not happening.
That's what it's starting to feel like. These games are becoming such huge experiences that like it's taking them 5, 10, 15. Which I do get it. Yeah. I can't remember, but the Final Fantasy 15, if I remember correctly, I think it was worked on since 2006. That originally was supposed to came out for like I think PS3. Like there's a long story behind that game. I remember like they had gone through like different like remakes of the story and different this and that. Like it went through this long journey to become the game that it became.
Yeah.
So I love the behind the scenes stuff. It's kind of cool to see. Sometimes it sucks as the players.
Oh yeah.
And the for these games because we're like we're like where's it at?
Yeah.
Behind the scenes there's always like it's whenever we see a delay like this it is disappointing. But I don't want a Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
I want to see this come out and everyone's like whoa. And it's cool with glitches. I actually sometimes they're funny.
Oh yeah.
I just don't like when they're like the dominating feature.
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed Unity. Like
when it becomes unplayable, then it becomes a problem.
If it's a funny one, sometimes where someone's like running, but it's like kind of weird and like they're like running into something.
Oh, yeah.
Funny, okay, cool. That's not like gameplay breaking. I'm like, that's cool. That's funny.
Yeah.
Or the double take on Oblivion that people talked about, like, that's funny. That's cool. Leave it in there. It doesn't matter. It's not going to break the game or affect it.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel that I watch, and of course the name is escaping me right now, but I watch it, and every week they upload a video, and it's like glitches and bugs and weird and funny stuff that happens in games, and it's definitely entertaining. I think at this point, the only Skyrim, if they do a remake, the only way I would accept it is if they allowed all of the insane PC mods to somehow transfer over to consoles. You know, if you can replace the dragons with Thomas the Tank Engine or Macho Man Randy Savage, I'm in there.
I mean, and that it always goes back to the console versus PC, but I would love to see because that's one of those areas where PC does do a little better. But if they can make it to where consoles get more of those experiences, sign me up. I'll buy Skyrim.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Again,
yeah.
I'll give you the full, whatever.
I'll do it
one more time for
Todd.
Todd.
One more time for Todd.
I got you for Todd. I got you. Don't worry, man. You heard it here first. I'm ready.
Oh,
I got my credit card on.
need to get a Steven Skryim in there to insert one more time. All right, what you got next, man?
All right, so let's transition over to. We'll keep it video game for a minute. So, Return to Silent Hill. I'm seeing Konami's getting their stuff together.
Yeah,
they're really starting to get their act together with Silent Hill. It's weird because for a long time we've had this lost path with Konami. Feel like I'm like, guys, your IP is absolutely amazing. I love Konami, but I don't know, with Silent Hill in this last 2 years, year and a half, they're killing it.
Yeah,
I know they didn't handle it personally, but the fact that it wasn't like a Silent Hill HD collection where it was buggy and everyone's like, The 2, pretty good, really good. They've got the movie coming out, Return to Silent Hill.
Yep,
it's a fan favorite of mine. I know a lot of people don't really love, especially the second movie, but the first movie, I love it. It's one of those movies. It's a comfort movie for me. As weird as that sounds.
Oh no, Shannon and I love that movie.
I love that movie. Same director, same writer. They confirmed today it's a faithful adaptation of number 2.
Yep. He's a huge fan. He actually gave them an entire pitch. Look, let me do this. This is how much I love it. So we want to champion those guys, those people.
Yeah. I'm glad Konami's listening. They're like, hey, we're gonna do it. I'm like, thank God.
I'm pretty sure that people are just showing up money. Here's how much money you make.
Well, and I hate to say it, maybe that's their language these days. That's their love language. Money. Just flash the green, and they're like, okay, Castlevania, you get the Netflix series.
Oh, dude, yeah, Castlevania is so good. Oh, my God.
And they're doing some good stuff. They really are, you know what I mean? But, and I know there's a whole story behind it. I still don't understand firing Kojima. I still don't understand what happened exactly. I have to read into that a little bit more, but, that to me was a blunder.
Yeah, that was a huge miss on their part. But I think they were just... I think he takes forever, and he's kind of like, oh, here's Death Stranding. I'm pretty sure he pitched that at one point, and they were like, what the heck?
This isn't Metal Gear Solid.
Get out of here. You want to, who? Why we, Norman Reed, who?
Yeah,
they're like, no thanks. That's too much money. Get out of here.
I get it. I think that there's always that little bit of regret, because obviously 2's coming out. Sony apparently has believed in it. They got the A24 movies coming out. So
crazy.
I'll be excited for that one. It is weird. It's a bizarre experience. I love the me. It's a fun one.
It's an experience.
It's an experience. It's weird. I can't say it's worth playing 2-3 times, but it's worth one time of the walking simulator. I
got 25 minutes in. I said, I'm good. Just give me the fetus, and I'm all right.
I did the full 60 hours. I went in, man.
Your face, you're still seeing. I did the
full 60 hours, bro. I went in. I'm going to be honest with you, until about hour 25, that's when it clicked.
Oh, my God.
I'm not even joking. I actually remember looking at the timer, and I was like, it's hitting for me now. It took, because it gets you, he does those long cinematics.
Yeah.
So the first 2 hours was fun just for the story, just laying down the groundwork. And then when you're actually in the gameplay, tutorials, but that from hour, I want to say 5 or 6 to 25.
Yeah, I mean,
you finally get a gun of sorts, kind of. They're like, here's a weapon, and I'm like, yay! They give you grenades made out of your own piss.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I was like, that's not real.
It's real. It's real. You use the bathroom, and it collects it to put it into a weapon.
Oh my God!
It's a weird. Like I said, you start getting vehicles, you start getting weapons.
Monster
it's kind of
energies.
Well, it's kind of one of those things where it's here's how the game's going to go for hours.
Yeah.
And then they just throw it on there oh, you thought you knew, but now we're going to add an entire new gameplay mechanic. You hadn't played with guns for hours, and then you're comfortable where you're at, and you're like, oh, I got to rethink about how I do. I actually, it got better. It got funner, a little bit more action-oriented.
Yeah.
From hour 50 to 60, it was really a lot of cinematics, but I loved it.
Yeah,
I like movie games. That's why I like Last of Us probably so much, is because I can't remember what game it was there. They gave the cinematic number, how much of the game was video and movie versus how much was gameplay. I was like, oh, I can't remember. I wish I remembered.
Yeah.
It's one I've played, and I remember being like kind of shocked at how high the cinematics was of the game, like the total pie. And I was like, oh my god. But I was like, I do love. That's why I like those single player experiences. I love. I mean, developing that relationship with the characters and being like, it's like watching a movie, and then at times I'm like, oh, let me pick the controller back up and let's get back into this.
Yeah, so. You get to like live that world. You get to enjoy it, and then all of a sudden live in it. I didn't never really click with Death Stranding, but Death Stranding 2, I really like the villain, the guy who's got like the guitar weapon. I thought he was really interesting and awesome. I was like, oh my god, yeah, this is great.
So, dude,
and the little puppet guy, like the marionette, like that's cool. Like, what a cool effect. What cool like ideas, you know.
I'm a little fuzzy, but I'm scared to replay the first one. Like, I'm just going to look at synopsis where, like, I can't do it again. I
just
I love the
YouTube
game
channel.
But I'm going to have to, like, go and look up something and, like, watch a 30-minute breakdown or maybe, like, all the videos, like, condensed. I don't know because it's a lot, and I'm a little fuzzy, and I'm like, oh, God, but I want to play on the beach, so...
Hey, I do that sometimes with like movies or games. You know what I mean, the only thing I can't get through it, man. I apologize to everybody in advance. I just cannot even do the synopsis of Kingdom Hearts as an entirety of a story. Even like quick videos. There was one that was like 12 minutes, and I was like 3 minutes in. I'm going, I'm done. Like I'm lost. What is happening? Like you know what I mean? There's division and multiplication and decimal points, and I was just like, oh my god. And then there was like, oh, it's a little mobile game for flip phones, and I was like, what? I was like, no.
I would say it's like this. You could play it two different ways. You can play it in the order of which they came out, or you could play it in the true order of like like.
That's insane.
Like, well, because they did it. Obviously, one was the one, and there's one, and Shame, which is like 1.5. Then there's 2, and then there's like Birth by Sleep, which is kind of really the first one.
Oh
so it's like
God.
the 4th or 5th game. Maybe it's like the 6th or 7th. I can't remember.
You see what I'm saying?
Because there's 358 divided by 2. There's recoded on the phone.
Oh God.
There's but if you play that one you could like.
This is agonizing.
Yeah, you could rearrange the games however you want and be like, all right, now I'm playing through.
Oh my
Obviously,
God.
3 is the end point, so that is nice to know. But yeah, it is. I actually had to question that for a minute because Dream Drop Distance goes right into 3, and I think it just about picks right up where Dream Drop, like the 3D. But see, there's also a lot of different consoles. That's now they've done all the work of putting the 1.5, 2.5 collection.
Yeah, I saw the one where it's like the story so far and all that stuff.
Yeah, they've done that before. It was like, let me buy a PS2, a DS, a GBA if you want to play that one. Like, just, you know what I mean? You had to buy like 3, 4, 5 consoles to be able to like piece it together, to be like, let me try to piece this together and play it like this. And I'd be like, bro, that's a lot of... I mean, luckily none are expensive, though.
In the future, historians are going to be so confused, man. They're just going to be like, huh? What is it? Greg, get over here. Like,
gives YouTubers jobs. There's probably people who thrive on it. Like, obviously, like game theory and gaming historians. People who are like, oh, man, confusing game, like storylines. I love it. Let me.
Yeah, chronologically confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I get it. They're doing God's work right now.
Oh, man.
I need that.
I'm surprised. You know what? Kojima would be best to spearhead Kingdom Hearts, in my opinion. It would just be insane. Can you imagine?
I need 45-minute cutscenes, please.
Yeah, just, oh my God. This one's 3.5 hours, and that's just the intro title sequence.
Your controller got turned off, but it was actually part of the gameplay. It's a feature. Don't worry.
Drop your controller. That is the true dream drop.
Smash it against the wall and turn off your console, and when you turn it back on, you've beat the game.
Oh, man. You got to finish this part on your phone.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Text you's like, text your banking confirmation to this number. So
and then after that, it's like, oh, actually, this movie that's in theaters, that's not actually it's actually a Kingdom Hearts movie. Now you have to go see it and bring your controller with you. Like, ah!
You're playing the movie, and it's just like, plug in. Like, that would be kind of cool. If, like, the whole audience, like...
These ideas are trademarked. Don't take them.
I was going to say, could you imagine, like, 30, 40 controllers, and, like, it takes inputs of, like, those people, synthesizes, like, all right, like, 30 of the 40 push, like, going forward, so we're going to go forward.
That actually wouldn't make sense because...
Like a voting system?
Like, Kojima had that thing online, Metal Gear Online, where it was, like, everybody had to do all these things to dismantle all the nuclear weapons and all that stuff to see the true ending of the online, and it was like, what? And he released it anyway because nobody ever got it, like...
I haven't gotten to play Metal Gear Solid 1. It feels like a gaming sin, But I love, it does. But I love the PS1 game. I do know this, like the code is on.
Oh yeah.
The freaking box art.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. I love the buggy stuff where it's like the one where I think he like acts like he unplugged your controller, or you have to plug it into player 2.
Oh yeah, because the screen goes black and it says Hideo in the upper right, kind of like in VCR green or whatever, and you had to unplug and plug it in 2 and. Psycho Mantis like puts the controller down. I'm gonna move it, and it rumbles, and you're just like, oh my god, like that was mind blowing at the time.
I love that kind of stuff. Again, it's kind of harder when I have cords now, so like it's just like I'm turning your controller off, power cycling it off and on.
And then like TVs aren't the same because back then TVs all had the same green volume up and down and lettering, and now everything is like smart home and all that. It'd be hard to emulate that kind of stuff.
Maybe you could act like it's a YouTube video. Like you're on YouTube, like I don't know.
It just
like
starts
opening
lagging,
an app. loading. You're like
disconnected.
How many people probably turned their game off back in the day before they figured that out?
Oh yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people like realize they're like, oh my god.
Yeah, can you imagine years later? You're like,
I've got Eternal Darkness at home just to play on GameCube for that same kind of experience where it's like. I remember the game I played like on Dreamcast, like Seaman, like where it was like,
oh yeah,
make sure not to say it too quickly, but but that one was weird, dude.
That was really
throws.
For
anybody who doesn't know, at home is a Sega Dreamcast game where you have like actually the microphone plugs in.
Yep.
So you have to talk. Those games. Oh, Hey You Pikachu is the one I'm thinking about. I could have strangled Pikachu. I was like, please, they're like Pikachu, go here.
Just listen.
It never did.
It was awesome.
I don't rage even at games, but as a kid, I can remember like that experience was one of the ones that like I never threw the controller thing. I'm not that guy, but like I remember I was like, I'm walking away.
Dude, I think
I'm putting this down.
There was a game that taught me. There was an experience, something that happened to me that made me stop like getting angry and throwing controllers. And I was playing Street Fighter Alpha 3 on PS1, and I remember I was playing against the CPU, and I had it like on easy just to like I just rented the game, like let me just acclimate. And I remember I didn't get a hit in for like 3 matches, and I remember I grabbed the controller and I cursed and I threw it at the PS1, and all you heard is. And I was like, what's going on? And I was standing on the side of it, and I opened the disc tray, and it shot and embedded itself in the wall. And I was just like, that could have been my neck.
I was going to say, luckily it didn't embed in you. Like.
And so I learned my lesson, like, all right, I got to stop. Maybe that was a sign from God, like, stop.
You could end up being like one of those guys, like with I'm talking about the giant ring at the bottom of their mouth. That's like you have a PS1.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Street Fighter 1.
The plate lips, just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was really bad. And that scared me. For a long time, I never even when I would start getting upset, I just would walk away.
No offense. Well, you know what? I don't care. Because in my opinion, don't destroy your own stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've never broke a controller. Because
I have.
It's like, go hit a mattress. Go pound the ground. Go pound some grass. Like
that's not immediate enough for me.
And I've not done that. But again, like, don't destroy something that's like 40. Like, just your mattress can take a hit. Like, take it like, damn. I'm like, all right. Cool.
Oh, you can't do it these days. Controllers are almost $100 now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Even back then, I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
And back then, you couldn't just like, I'm just going to order one off Amazon or just go to your local store. They might not have had them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, back then. Oh man, back in the dark ages, I can't even.
Yeah. Speaking of dark ages,
how did you make it? I'm just gonna just
MapQuest.
Oh man, dude, I actually took one trip with MapQuest.
I took
to a beach.
Oh really?
I had printed it out. I remember we took one wrong road because it doesn't scream at you. It's like, hey, and I'm like, oh. We had to figure out what wrong road and turn around. We figured it out, but I was like, oh my God.
I remember one time it like gave me directions, but it didn't know that they were like rebuilding this entire area. And I went to take a right and it was just closed off.
Oh,
they were working on some bridge and I was just like, uh-oh. So I had to like kind of figure out, on my own to get to that one road. You know what I mean? Like it was a nightmare. Before that, it was maps.
Is there a local library near here?
Yeah,
where I can print out some new directions?
I need some microfiche. Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, speaking of Dark Ages,
yes,
Doom, the Dark Ages,
the Doom.
I am very excited, but also slightly disappointed. Like, all right, so Doom 2016 came out, and it's the old Doom. It's run and gun, stand still and you die. And then Doom Eternal, yay, more of the same. It's awesome. But then they added this little like caveat of you have to constantly switch weapons. Like, all right, this enemy's weak to this, and that enemy's weak to that. You know what I mean? And now the Dark Ages is doing the same thing, except now you have to do a lot of parrying. And there's a little more melee focus. And it still looks fun. People are still raving about it. I'm still looking forward to it. But let me shoot. I just want to shoot. That's all I want. And that's just the casual in me coming out. Like, I just want to shoot and die.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
You know what I mean? But, like, having this, it still looks fun, but, like, having to sit there and wait for that green thing and then to parry and then start attack, like, I just don't like it. But once I saw the little dragon, I was like, ooh.
I want more buttons.
Oh, that's nice.
On controllers. Like, I've been thinking about this for a long time. Like, I'm tired of the layout. Like, the 2 back buttons, the 4.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you got a game like that, give me more complications.
Yeah.
I remember Elden Ring is good and it's complicated, but, like, I'm like, give me 6 buttons. If you're going to add a bunch of new things, help me. I remember Red Dead had the toggle wheel and you have, like, you pick out your weapon. I'm like, just give me more buttons to do more things with. Because, like, when I go to a game like that, I just want to have more sometimes, like, ways to access it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how it's going to play out, the whole, like, because I can just imagine a game like that, very fast-paced. You're trying to switch, you're trying to do this. And I'm like, man, we need more buttons. Like, I think about something like again, I'm not trying to go back to Skyrim, but I'm just going to say, like, you got magic, you got this and that, you got... Like, give me more options. What can I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a dedicated button for magic, a dedicated button for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like driving a stick shift while smoking a cigarette and, like, drinking a coffee.
Yes.
Like, oh, Jesus. Oh, clutch.
Sometimes, in fighting games, sometimes that's complicated. I get it, and it wouldn't be for everybody, but I'm just, like, thinking, I'm like, throw it at me.
Yeah.
Like, let's just test it out.
Or give me different control schemes, maybe. Like, hey, simplify it for me. I just want to play for 20 minutes or something, and then, like, somebody who's really in depth to the combat or something.
That would be cool. Like an easy mode or a different mode. It's like, hey, classic mode.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like, hey, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. It's whatever. It's Doom. It's still supposed to be really good, and it comes out today, I think, for, you know, if you've got the fancy edition or whatever. But I'm looking forward to playing it still, regardless. I'm going to have a good time, but I'm like, damn.
The aesthetic looks beautiful.
Oh, my God.
I actually just pre-ordered. They're doing play mats.
Yeah.
Like, for, like, card games and stuff based on the Doom, like, through the Dark Age and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I was like, I didn't know. Honestly, I was so behind on the news cycle for this one, I didn't even know. And I was just like, oh, random Doom stuff. I was like, let me click here and order this for the store and get play mats and stuff. Because I was like, these just look sick.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, yep, that makes total sense.
Yeah. And it's awesome. Like, aesthetically, it's still going good. And this is a prequel to all of the...
Oh, that's cool.
All the Dooms and everything. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Maybe he also thought it was too complicated. So by the time he got to do it
Oh,
as the prequel, he's like, this is too much.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with a shield. Or, you know.
Melee, no, I'm throwing this out, throwing the parries. I'm going back to basics.
Yeah, melee, only if you get Berserker mode where you can punch, one-shot things. So
I'd like that, but sometimes you can add too much.
Yeah.
I'd rather they perfect what they've got. It's just beautiful.
I just want to shoot, bang, bang. That's it.
Make it easy, but fun, but challenging at the same time.
All of it. Give me all.
Do everything that we need as the gaming community, please.
Yes. Now.
But
what do you got?
I will talk about the Switch 2.
Okay.
Because that was one that, like, you brought up, I brought up. We're like, I've seen more obviously, as we go, more and more information. This one almost feels like it just can't be right. This feels so weird. But I've seen it's either game key cards or 64 gigabyte cartridges is what I've seen.
That's what I'm seeing, too.
And I'm like, all right, that is a little bit of a miss. Where's 32? Where's maybe 16? I get games are bigger than ever. The games on Switch 2 will be bigger than ever. So, like, let's just say, like, 32. I feel like I'm wondering if the backlash is going to be so much that maybe they'll go back on it a little bit. Or maybe they just won't care. Maybe they'll just be like, just absorb it and be like, it'll be one of those things where people are complaining right now. And obviously we always talk about, there's that vocal minority of people. Is it the vocal minority or is it the majority? Because, like, people always talk about, like, your minorities are always going to be your most vocal people who are like, I'm pissed about this. I hate this. I don't like it. I guess if they see enough numbers, I get scared too. If, like, too many people are angry, they're just like, we're just going to go digital. Next one, you guys have pissed us off enough that we just don't even care.
I think they genuinely, not saying that they don't care, but the numbers don't lie. Every pre-order is sold out. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They haven't had a slew of new pre-orders are out because a bunch of people cancel. Like, no, everybody's still going to keep their pre-order regardless. Even if they're upset, they can at least sell it for a little extra cash. I'm assuming, you know what I mean? But I think ultimately their bottom line isn't getting hurt, so I don't think it's really going to make a dent. I think that's what made them change on the entirety of the Wii U and kind of like abandon it early and move right to the Switch, is because they were like, oh, God, this is tanking. We did bad. You know, Iwata was just like, oh, crap, I am so sorry. And, you know, and it made them rethink their entire position. So I think, I don't know, does the arrogance play into this a little bit, maybe? Yeah. Or, I don't know.
Or progression of things, I think, more or less. Like,
yeah. Game key, if it's literally just game keys and 64 gigs, I think that sucks. Because smaller developers who maybe don't want to do digital are just like screwed out of that because those cards are expensive. This is an entirely new memory format system with saving too, with the memory card that you need to have for it. So I don't know. I don't know where that lies on their end because Nintendo's hard to read sometimes.
I'm going to say, and I'm making a call here, that like the people who end up putting the 64 are going to be at least people who have at least 20, I'd say 32 gigabytes of a game.
Yeah.
That are like, well, okay, it's not 64. I'm willing to just like take the hit because it's either this or this and the community. But I don't know. Like even Limited Run, I'm kind of almost wondering if like I know they'll do it.
Yeah.
But I wondered like again, is it going to be reserved for larger games? Like they're going to be like, this game can, like we know it's going to sell, but it just didn't get a physical.
Yeah.
I'm praying to God, like, I know it's already out, so you could say, like, yeah, but I want the Final Fantasy. They said the whole trilogy, the remake of 7, is going to be on Switch too. I'm hoping that some developers like that haven't put out a release date, that haven't probably even gone into production yet, like, for physically, read this and say, okay, well, I'm seeing the backlash. I'm seeing that people really want that. It's a larger game. I don't know the exact, like, size of it. I'm hoping they say, hey, we're going to do that because it'll be fine this generation. Like even for trade-ins for like the store or any other store, it'll be fine. Like Bravely Default's one, I'm picking it up. I don't care. I know people are like, I'm not buying a single game key card. I'm like, well, I want to play it, and it's nice again to buy something that has value. So if I get done, I'm like, hey, trade it in because it will play for the whole generation. It will play just fine. It will play for a generation and a half. Nintendo, I think, is out of the three, is the quickest to turn off their digital.
Yeah.
And basically be like, hey, we're done with functionality, pulling the plug, whatever you got, it doesn't work any longer. You know, or if you have a download, well, I don't know. On GameCube cards, I think it needs that like verification from the eShop.
That's the one thing that I'm like concerned about is not even the initial like download and all that stuff, but like, hey, what if I haven't played this in a month or two and like, oh, I'm going to take a flight. Let me go ahead and I just don't have access to the internet for whatever reason. Is it still going to be like, hey, I need to check in or not? Because that was the big thing that people were mad at Microsoft about. Because, you have to check in every 24 hours or whatever it was. But if the Switch 2 is going to do that, like that's going to be a little rough. Like it's still, I'm a gamer at heart, so I still need to like play. So
yeah, this reminds me of the PlayStation Portal. Like when you see stuff that's like when they were like, oh yeah, I think Wi-Fi only. You couldn't take it out of the house really unless it was like. Leave your PlayStation 5 in rest mode, and then like with there's stuff like that. I'm like, guys, maybe I kind of sort of get why you're doing this.
Yeah,
but it's not consumer friendly. It's not cool.
It really isn't. Yeah,
yeah. Like these cards they're doable. It is. I get it. You're giving people an avenue to just increase the. I would rather for longevity. If I'm gonna buy something physical, I don't know. It's like buying a CD and like half of it's not gonna be on there or something. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know what the equivalent will be because it's like no one does that. No one wastes the plastic and time and energy to go ahead and go half the way and not just do the whole thing. Like you know, like I know that like you'd argue like there was plastic boxes in the last generation with code cards inside of it, but no game. And there was the Resident Evil collection 4, 5, 6, but only 4 is on the cart and 5 or 6 are downloads. But at least something like 4, the complete 4 was on the cart. The complete Spyro 1 out of the trilogy was on the cart. You know, at least 1 out of the 3 complete games was there, so you had something to show for it. But like, I would prefer that at this point. Like a portion of it being on the cart than like zero, just nothing. Like it's just literally a piece of plastic that validates that I bought it physically, and it's just like,
yeah. And that's something that happened with PC games, like
right, I remember
GameStop years ago were still selling like PC games in the store, the big boxes.
Yep.
And I forget which game I bought. I bought it, and the disc actually only contained, I think, a README with the key. and a download for Steam, and I was just like, oh, really? Wow, that's weird. Because I'm, used to like, oh, install this and then insert this too, or whatever it was. But yeah, I remember I was being so disappointed. Like, what the hell's the point of this box again? And if we're going to that essentially with consoles, that's gonna suck.
Beginning of the end, you think, or do you think it's just a trend, or you think it's just
I think this is them
too expensive?
No, I think it's also about like, hey, we want direct profits, because you have to know that the heads at Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft can't stand the fact that GameStop and stores like ours, sit there and we're essentially profiting off of their work or whatever. So I think that they're going to celebrate the downfall of that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I just wish they were a little more consumer facing. I wish they were a little more considerate of our time, our money, and how our values when it comes to owning products.
Yeah, for America especially. Like, I get some other countries in the world are like, hey, we don't really care. But I'm like, if you're going to sell in this market, that's a huge, huge part. We love owning a piece of it. It's like, 4Ks. Like, a lot of people have gotten out of the 4K market, but like the people I know personally, like there's one friend of ours, business-wise, orders a pallet. He said he ordered 500 of the 4K of Conan the Barbarian. Like, had a pallet come in for one of his pre-orders. Dang. And that's an example. But like he's built his business for 20-some years. But like that's an example where someone's got like a market's a niche. There's plenty of demand. People do steal. And that's just one story. Like, do want it, but like, I don't know. There's room. I think it's just there's not like maybe big box room sometimes for certain markets, but I guess in that way, again, the big three are only interested in the big box experiences. And if the big boxes aren't interested in it, but there has to be a point like Best Buy. I don't enjoy going into Best Buy anymore. I don't.
No.
I used to love it. I still love Barnes & Noble. Thank God, it's still an experience that I'm like, oh, I just want to go and peruse Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
I don't have to even buy anything. I just enjoy being there.
Yeah.
Best Buy used to be that for me. I used to just love like I'm gonna look at the movies and CDs and the like. When you buy an appliance, it's not. I don't want to stare at TVs. I don't want to stare at like washer and dryers. It's kind of boring.
Yeah,
kind of very adult. I mean, like, and it's like if you're not going to buy a refrigerator anytime soon, you're just kind of looking at them to look at them.
Yeah,
but like I used to like browse through the games and be like, oh man, I just like whatever. But it's just not like that anymore. It's got like this pitiful section of Switch games. It's like the top 30 and like the new tennis new releases that are big. You're not going to get in there and be shocked. You know?
It's a lot of Power A controllers for the Switch too. It's just like,
surprisingly, Arcade 1-Up. They always have like at least 2 or 3, 4 of the Arcade 1-Up cabs, and like it's just what I go there. I'm like, oh, we need a computer, we need a camera, we need this and that. It's like let me go in here and grab this. It's like it's not like it's more like necessity, and they've downsized the stores to warehouses, and I don't know. Like,
I think that's just ours though, because when I went to Concord and Concord Mills Mall, their Best Buy, amazing. Still like very large. They still have a ton of like gaming stuff, but it's mostly like collectibles now. There's a lot of toys in that section.
I think that's when I wonder if like Walmart has this dedicated electronics section.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wonder, like, I mean, I guess like this is like the bigger question. It's like, what would you put there? Like, like there's certain things that like I'm expecting when certain things go digital, it's like I'm almost kind of wondering like, you just get rid of a large footprint of your stuff, and you just have the hardware that carries this stuff, and it's like, I don't know. Like to me, at a certain point, it's like I don't know. Like it seems like each of them are kind of getting out, and like I guess what I'm saying is as each of them kind of drop movies and drop this and that and drop
the physical
and have like Target has a very curated section of vinyl. They have vinyl, but it's very curated. It's like again maybe 20 to 40 different ones. Maybe if I'm guessing. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of the games that are kind of that weird spot too, where I kind of wonder, like, what are you going to put there? Like,
I don't know. They'll just put a screen there and just show like a slideshow of like, here's the new game that came out.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Get the Switch console, please.
No more kiosks or anything.
Yeah, I lament that, and I mean maybe we're in the vinyl era, because I remember that was where music stood too. Like I remember maybe we're just a little bit behind,
Yeah.
Like music was right where some of where we're at right now. Like 20 years ago, I remember a lot of record stores, they closed.
Yep.
They were done. But then if you survived it or waited 5, 6, 7 years, by the end of the 2000s, like there's ones that pop back up.
Yep.
And they're the ones that I know today are doing fantastic. And there's some of the same ones that popped up then. So it's like I feel like there's either two things. Either you survive the era and then people are like, well, I still love this. Like I'm still – like vinyl I've told you – doesn't make sense, kind of, but not really. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, I know people will argue the audiophile thing and audio, but I'm like, at the end of the day, it just doesn't really make sense technically.
Yeah.
But we do it, and honestly, we do a large part of it. You know, so
when there's also too the collector aspect of it.
Yes.
Now I think the gaming collecting side has been beaten to death, unfortunately. At least for like the major stuff. There's still a lot of people who still need, like, you know, what I say, the meat and potatoes, the middleman kind of stuff, and the lower end, because people leave that stuff because it's easy to get. But the major collecting side, you don't see as many collectors and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think vinyl's the same way. Like, there's people. That's why they release vinyls with like gimmicky colors and this one has fluid in it that moves, and I love that stuff.
I do.
It's great. You know what I mean? But I'm not buying a vinyl to like take home and listen to it. You know what I mean? I'd rather not open the package. Like, the collector me is like, no, please.
I get it. Mine's a time thing, but like, when I do art, I put on my vinyls. That's like I could just do the Bluetooth with my phone, but like, I don't know, something about it. I just purposely, that's my time I pick for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
it is an experience too, because I remember dropping the needle still just fantastic. What a great feeling.
It's fun.
That little hiss and that little crackle. It's so good.
Yeah, again, I get it. It doesn't make sense, and it's weird, and you're going out of your way, and there's like an easier route. I guess it'd be like almost like hand making a food that you can literally just go to the grocery store and be like, well, I can just buy it now. I don't have to churn butter I can just go buy sticks of it, and like, why would I do that? But it's almost like sometimes I'm like, you're like, well, it's part of the old ways, and it's good to never forget some of that a little bit. It's just appreciation of that, you know?
Yeah.
So, but other than that, the bricking consoles, that was one last thing on Switch 2 I actually did want to bring. I'm not shocked. We obviously own in the store. We deal with this all the time. I mean, on 3DS market, all the time. People literally the last 2 or 3 Switches or 3DSs that people brought to me be like, hey man, this has been modded. What do we do? I'm like, okay, well, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's crazy on the 3DS, and even the original Switches get modded. So I'm not shocked at all. From a store standpoint, not shocked at all with this. Like this just was like, oh, yep, that makes sense. Yeah,
because people were experiencing that. I mean, this is one step above what they were doing with Switch 1, because I don't want to promote this because it's not a great thing. Retail-wise, the MIG Switch was a big thing where you could essentially steal a digital copy of a physical game and put on a Switch.
Oh, right,
so if that person sold that game and that person tried to go online, their console got banned. You know what I mean? So
yes, I remember that.
Being banned from the store or online is one thing. Bricking the entire console is another. I think it should be on a case-by-case basis at least.
How's that going to look? Like, you turn it on and just won't do anything? Or
I have no idea.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just black screen. Like, I don't... Or if it says your console's bricked. Like, just literally tells you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That was what I was wondering. Is like... Because, again, from a store standpoint and also, like, just in general for customers, like, I mean, obviously, that's something we'll just have to learn as we get there to see how they handle the visuals of it. But that is a weird one.
I'm sure it'll be some weird message.
But again... If Xbox or Sony were doing this, it would be like, wow, this is a little weird. But like Nintendo's ones, people like they take down RAM people, they take down websites, copyright strikes. Yeah, I'm not shocked. This is not one that I'm like, Nintendo, what are you doing?
It's not shocking at all. But at the same time, like, it's not like Nintendo's perfect where, you know, because there's people who've gotten banned for, like, no reason. You know what I mean? Like an accident or something. Now, what happens when they brick a console? Is it some sort of code that they alter, that they download onto the console, where it's literally like they have to send it in or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's going to be really weird to see, and...
It'll suck.
Yeah, I think they're really scared about what happened with the modding of the Switch 1 and the mixed Switch, that they are taking the game keys and all this stuff extremely seriously.
Well, if you look at Sega Dreamcast, it's a great example of what can happen if you don't have enough protections. Like, people, I mean, I've seen people come to the store, like, burnt CD-ROMs with a full game on there and be like, hey, I got these, can I trade these in? I'm like, no, they're not really the game. Like, you just kind of made a copy of it. Like, good thing with cartridges, no one's going to manufacture a cartridge in their house or anything, like, or burn a cart. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a possibility, but it is one where I totally get it. Like, as far as I've read, like, it really was one of the things that led to their downfall. Like, they lost an avenue where people are like, oh, I just burn an entire Crazy Taxi to a CD and just play it on CD-ROM.
Yeah, it wasn't easy back then because getting a hold of a burner wasn't exactly the cheapest thing in the world, but you could still do it.
Plus,
you really could.
They didn't have, like, updates.
Yeah.
If they had the ability of Wi-Fi, if they had internet, they probably could have stopped it and be like...
They did, but I don't think they could patch their own stuff. Yeah, because there were no game patches or anything back then.
Scary, though.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. I think they're still mad that... not Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom leaked online.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were so mad. I think this is just still the fallout from that. They're like, how dare you?
Well, it takes away from the experience because, like, you know, anytime you have... You know, something like Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy, as I'll transition right into.
Perfect.
And you have the showcase, and you just have like they were at PAX East, I believe it was East, but they did like the whole showcase, hour and a half debut. They've been showing it off all week, and Final Fantasy has also been joining together with them. And like, it kind of sucks when you start seeing like there was a couple leaks that came through.
Yeah,
maybe like an extra 3 to 6, 8, 10 cards. I don't know, something small, like a batch of cards. Leaked through. It was nothing crazy. And I don't know, there's a lot more momentum when everybody wants. Versus like when Blvd released, it was so exciting because it was like, yo, what? Surprise? I kind of hate that for companies too because I get it because they want to be the one. It's like playing a surprise party and someone ruins the surprise for you. Yeah. Like they tell the person, they're like, oh, it's cool still, but I know when I go in this room, everyone's gonna be sitting there waiting on me. So it's like, okay, like I don't know, and that's. I just want to say, as somebody who loves Final Fantasy, they knocked it out of the park. They're doing great. I hate the prices for customers.
Holy cow.
Hate the accessibility for customers. We are getting some. We got our allocation numbers for them. 2 out of the 3, not great. I even got an email this week that I heard play boosters were not allocated. Been told that and my guy even put his email like I could tell he seemed irritated because. And they're our largest one for play boosters, which really sucks to hear this news. But they were basically like, he said, I've been promised for months and months of constant reassurances that these were not out. And even this last week, I said, all right, I actually created the listing for the play boosters for pre-orders. And then I had to basically like take it down that day before any pre-orders came in, like right within like 30 minutes, an hour. I hadn't posted or announced it. And I was like, man, this is crazy because... He sent that email, and it was like, yeah, we're having to allocate these now. Yeah. So, like, and that's the play boosters. Like, that's the experience where people get the most basic entry into the set. Like, the other stuff's like, you don't need it. The commander decks, yes, I would say the basic commander decks, but, like, the collector commanders, the collector boosters, the gift, you don't need them to, they brought back the original artists, like Yoshitaka Amano and Tetsuya Nomura. They brought back through, like, they said, pick one character that you really, and a lot of them were excited. And they like did original sketches or drawings for these cards, like one character.
Yeah.
Maybe even there's like a couple. I honestly almost feel like Amano did like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, but he did never before seen like drawings, and they were like, I was even reading today, they were talking about like being in Japan or whatnot, and they're like, before it was a card, they're like, oh my god, we have an original. Like Amano right in front of us, like sketch.
Yeah.
Like they were like, do not touch it, do not like fingerprint it, anything. And like they were talking about like, oh my god, this isn't a print. We're like a digital scan, and we got it's the original like work right in front of us. So really cool that they've paid homage to the the IP, and like they're paying attention. I've been reading. That's one thing I've kind of realized the love about Magic and Wizards of the Coast is they like share a lot of the design processing these days.
Yeah.
So they talk about like how they came about to something, why they made the decisions they make. Like we decided to do this for this reason. Like, or hey, in this game there's a lot of and they were talking about Final Fantasy 2. There's a lot of like equipment. It's like a special thing. Like the weapons are a big part of 2.
Yeah.
Because the first one was like the job system. They kind of like pioneered like the job system, like white mage, black mage, all that.
Yeah.
And those are a part of it. Like one, they have those cards where it's like black mage, which is really cool. They paid homage to that. Aww. 2, they paid homage to like equipment, and like there's like cards that like balance off of that. And I was like, I love that they paid attention to each one. And there's 16 mainline games that they covered.
Yeah.
And they said like one of the fun things was like they're like, man, it was so much to do. They said we could have done a whole set just on Final Fantasy 14 alone.
Oh yeah.
14 is just so big. They said we could have literally just done this one game, but we had to cover them all.
Yeah.
So they
have
imagine
that job, like holy cow, dude.
Honestly, it sounds overwhelming, but it also sounds fun. But also from reading and talk, like hearing their like conversations,
a
lot of them work like tirelessly, like around the clock, behind the scenes.
That's
like,
that work ethic, man.
Because like it's cool, it's really awesome to see that. And like I was going to ask you, like beyond this, like what they seem like these days are one of the biggest, because obviously there's the big three really still is Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I've heard conversations that One Piece, as it continues, we're on set 11, with 12 coming around the corner. It's one of those sets where people are starting to say, like, hey, One Piece is starting to enter the real conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's got staying power. It's not, like, I've heard people talk about Lord Kana, not, it's still hot, but it's not, it's difficult, you know what I mean? Like, it's not where it needs to be yet, but I think, I really do think Ravensburger and Disney will get that where it needs to be. But regardless, what I'm saying is, like, for them to work with Magic and Magic to work with them, it's kind of like a really big deal.
Yep.
They did Fallout, they've done SpongeBob, they're doing Avatar, Last Airbender.
Yeah.
As far as video games or any other IP, what's one that you would like to see if they touched in a card treatment of all the different ones?
I mean, you would have to do more, like more Bethesda, like Elder Scrolls.
I was thinking the same.
It has
Skyrim.
to be.
That's one of the elements to getting back to the Skyrim report and remasters.
See,
part of it's on the pathway.
As far as visuals, I think Oblivion and Morrowind would be more along the lines.
Or maybe all of them, kind of like a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Where they say, hey, let's do all 5 Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, because I think, like, aesthetically, I think Oblivion's my favorite, just visually. Everything, those gates are incredible to look at still. It's just amazing. That world is a little more colorful. Skyrim was very drab, and which I get. It's supposed to be, you know what I mean, like not a fun time to live there, but Daggerfall too. But Daggerfall is like visually is like limited by its technology. But I think Morrowind and Oblivion, if you could do that, I think that'd be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on any other sets because, you know, I've never really sat down and thought about it. I'm sure picking another anime would be just
and
perfect.
People get upset because the high fantasy setting.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff kind of. I think like Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy, 2 sets that tie in together, in my opinion, really well. Like you like Lord of the Rings, very high fantasy. People love like the elves, the door. It just fits so perfectly.
That world, that lore alone is like worth it.
It was like a glove. It was like I felt like those two were coincided almost perfectly.
Actually, that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
That would be cool.
I'll take that.
That'd be cool. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're kind of doing like a Union Arena, a Y Schwartz kind of approach where they're doing like guest slots, but like, I know it upsets the base group of people because like they've had this and there's lore, there's stories, and like it kind of like adds like someone's. Again, I think it's fun. It's fun. It pulls new people in. It's about getting the game to continue on, moving forward.
Yeah,
I even heard like Minecraft, like. Because there is an interesting element to this. Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast. Hasbro does a lot of the toys already for movies like Minecraft. They're already. It wouldn't be such a stretch to be like, hey, we're doing SpongeBob toys for you, Nickelodeon. Could we work together on a card set?
Yeah,
like a small one, like they did like the secret layers, like 15 cards, I think, all together.
Yeah,
maybe like 18 of the secret cards in the secret layers. But like, again, it's. I don't know. I think it adds an interesting wrinkle. My God.
I think it does help because plus like the SpongeBob secret lair thing, like that SpongeBob is in the zeitgeist now. That is that's no longer like, oh, that's a little kid show from Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah,
SpongeBob is a massive IP. It's over 2 decades now. We're gonna go pretty soon around the corner to 3 decades of SpongeBob. So it's not something that just like. Why you put Miss Rachel in Magic? Like it's nothing
or
like
Bluey or something.
Yeah, like weird. You know what I mean? It's warranted, especially if you're doing Secret Lair and it's memes. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense.
That's what I was gonna say. And like I'm excited. The Avatar one to me was a little. That one was a little bit of a stretch because they're not exactly an anime, but it is kind of like. I almost call it like a hybrid between a cartoon and anime almost.
Yeah, I
mean, more
mean,
closer to anime than cartoon.
I think it's considered an anime. A lot of people had that debate because it was like American property or whatever, and a Nickelodeon backed thing. But
maybe that's why. Like I think that too.
The thing I don't know. Like I guess Magic does have like cannons and stuff, but like Avatar is not high fantasy to me. It's more of like a middle ground. You know what I mean? It's almost like. The time is closer to like modern age than it would be with like a fantasy. With fantasy, I think like, oh, that's like forever ago. You know what I mean? That's medieval and knights. That's like what pops into my head. But Magic could be anything, honestly. So you could literally throw whatever you wanted in there. I think they can make it work. But I can see that pissing people off.
Yeah, it is, man.
It's no Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, and Speaking of Pokemon, transition into. And then one more leading it. Destined Rivals around the corner for anybody who's asked, who we've got many calls. And, a lot of things would change. And, the thing I've learned and also seen is, they're changing pre-orders and allocations more than they should. So I'm waiting till almost the last week and a half to do them for the store. Well, everything will be MSRP as always. Had debated about doing this one policy. I've seen Japanese people do it, like stores and others. Basically, you come to buy a booster box. Booster boxes market $260. We're doing $161. It leaves rooms for scalpers. It is an unfortunate thing. I thought about doing the whole hey, it's $199, but if you let us take the plastic off in front of you, you can get it for the MSRP. I like that because it's okay, well, at least I'm debating that one, but at least the customer then can it's hey, if I'm a collector or a player, I don't care. I'm going to open these anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it keeps the scalping element out of it because it's okay, well, crap, they've already opened it, or they have to pay $200, so their margins are less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like that element too.
Maybe we should do a poll kind of hey, would you guys be okay if we did this, or would you prefer just do it the traditional way?
I like that because it's just kind of trying to think about it. How do you, apparently in Japan, it's very common.
Yeah.
They do that for a lot of different sets that are really hot. So it's stores, you can still sell at MSRP, but you're selling more to your communities. And you're not just at the end of the day, just a reseller is coming up, scooping up product that people who, because it ends up being this, I end up buying your product and I'm just end up selling it anyways to one of your customers.
Yeah.
Then they end up having to pay the higher prices because it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that is tough. But Destined Rivals looks amazing. I think the set's going to do great. I think Journey Together was one, I think, for customer base, it felt a little overhyped for me for what was there because all cause prismatic. Everybody's all excited about the evolutions.
Yeah.
And the thing I was going to talk about today is there's the new White Bolt Black Flare. They're doing Unova. Dual sets.
Wow.
And they're doing it to where there's unique cards in both.
Yep.
Every single Pokemon, which I think is around 156, is getting an Illustrated Rare or SIR.
Yep.
Mostly it's IRs, Illustrated Rares, but I just wrote this down. It's 5 SIRs in each one.
Yeah.
So that's weird to me because I'm I wonder, does it dilute Illustrated Rares? Because War Edge makes it even harder to collect. Prismatic was already known to be a hard set to collect because they did this thing where every card, every Pokemon had a Master Ball and a Pokeball pattern.
Gotcha.
And for those who are completionists, you've got regular card, reverse hollows, you've got the Pokeball pattern, the Master Ball patterns, and you've already got the IRs and SIRs, including any other rarities, double rares, EXs.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. And I just wonder, I'm God, you've got 2 separate sets, each with their own, SIRs and IRs. It seems a little overwhelming. I'm wondering if they're testing the waters out or what they're doing here.
I wonder if this is going to feed the fandom because I'm pretty sure they're seeing, at least here in the U.S., the absolute craze that Pokemon's got with all between the scalpers, collectors, and tournaments and everything. That everybody's just over the top excited about this stuff. So releasing both at the same time here in the U.S., that's pretty wild. So I wonder if they're just let's see. As
my distributor told me today, they print 1 year out in advance.
Oh my God.
So this set, I think, I can't see it changing because Pocket came out in October around Christmas. Whatever set, if it comes out in November or if it comes out in January, might be the first set where they've printed to higher print runs. Because what he was telling me, if it's 100% true, this one won't have a great print. None of these are going to have great print runs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just, that was when they were Pokemon wasn't doing, it's never done bad. Let me say that. But it wasn't doing as great as it is now. People weren't as interested. But Pokemon sleeps is what I feel like. It sleeps. It goes to sleep for a while. People sleep on it. They're but it's always there. It's always in the round. It's never gone away. Never has gone away. Never will, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then it wakes up and everyone's
yeah, dude, it's wild to see that almost tonal shift from week to week where it's just and then it just people are please, just calling, losing their minds.
People just, I think, discouragement.
Yeah.
There's only so long you can go before you're just there's no product on the shelf. I'm paying crazy prices, 1.5, 2 times what the cost was originally. It's it's inflated. You're getting squeezed on other general inflationary things and there's a lot of concerns,
Yeah.
kind of worries and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. I kind of wonder. I think like it's going to be. It's still been a very exciting time. One Piece has got the new set coming out next month. Pokemon's got the new set coming at the end of this month, and then Final Fantasy next month. It is a golden. This year is a golden age for TCGs for this year. Restocks are hard, getting products hard, allocations hard. Everything all around has been a tough go at it. But
I mean, you can tell how like crazy it's been because I'm not even into Magic at all. I'm gonna need me a Moogle card.
it's
Like I want a Moogle card, please. Like
chef's kiss.
like it looks awesome. I love Moogles. They're great.
I've played 15, 16. I'm playing 7 for the first remake intergrade.
Oh, gotcha.
And it makes me. I actually had to kind of be worried about spoilers because I'm like, ooh, because they put the villains and what the villain happens in some of the villains. So
Yeah.
but I'm excited. I've always wanted to pick up the Pixel Anniversary Collection on the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
1 through 6. I mean, Final Fantasy is cool, man. It's cool. It's just always been there. So
Yeah. I've enjoyed Final Fantasy. I delved into 14. It was years ago, and that was fun before they made that massive update. But I enjoyed it, but I just got kind of like I didn't have time because you know what I mean. Like you have to constantly be on top of everything. Of course, I enjoyed 7. I enjoyed 1, 3. Hated 6. I'm gonna get roasted for that. 8 was like a side thing. I was like, it's not bad. All right, that's cool. I like it, especially after like the hype of 7. 7 was probably my favorite. I still have to do 15 and 16.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
and I still want to play Stranger
Oh, yeah.
of Paradise because chaos. Like I saw all the memes and I just want to like enjoy that, and it looks like just a fun, mindless kind of like battler kind of thing. But Final Fantasy's always been good.
It's one of those ones where I'm excited. The only thing that was kind of weird is that Final Fantasy does their own card game. They have their own TCG. Yeah. So it's kind of weird for them to give the green light to be like, hey, let's do a collab with
Optics.
Magic.
Plus, I think maybe the illustrators had a hand in that too, because they were just like, "Oh, we'd love to do this kind of thing." Maybe they're into Magic, and they're like, "Hey, man, we can get some free products if we draw this."
I think the other thing is like, I wonder if it's to break in the Japanese markets because they are, they do have a Japanese presence, and I wonder if it's like, hey, they don't really care about our high because like high fantasy is a very American thing. I've always heard.
Yeah.
Like other countries do sort of okay like it, but we love it. Like, we're like, oh, like Legend of Zelda is kind of high fantasy for Nintendo.
Yeah.
And like it's the number one here of like Nintendo's IP, like their wheelhouse. But like in Japan, I believe it's like Mario and like Splatoon, but not like Zelda, I believe falls in the like 2, 3, 4 spot. Like it's big, but it's not like they're number one like it is here.
Yeah. And it's still like mind blowing, just off topic real quick. Like Metroid just does not do well there. I thought that was one of their biggest things, but apparently no, that's basically an American loved IP. And not really so much in Japan. They've fallen in love with it over the years a little bit, but not like how we just like yeah. That's why Prime 4 they're like we don't care. Shut up. Here's Dread. Shut up. Like so like when there was so much demand after Dread, they were like okay, fine. But yeah. So like that's weird that like Zelda's not as big as like Mario and like Splatoon even, which is crazy.
It is weird. So I kind of wonder if that was going to make it easier, like kind of like Japanese style anime, like. Kind of fantasy cards. It's like, hey, break into the market, plus help you if like an American market, like introduce more people. Because I imagine it's like the opposite for both markets. Like in Japan, if Final Fantasy TCG does really good in Japan, probably, but Magic's probably like okay. Yeah. And then here's the opposite where like Magic's does really good here, but then like Final Fantasy TCG, you know what I mean? So it's like both can cross over and help each other and be like, hey, we both can help in our own home markets and make
It really is kind of like a perfect collab.
It's perfect.
Perfection.
I'm excited. They have that. They have special artists they've invited in. They're doing like a through the ages. They said they went through 5,000 different pieces of artwork.
Oh my God.
Scoured through and picked the most impactful. I think it's like 80, maybe 100 cards that they did like through the ages. Like Yuffie's one of them, like the classic Tetsuya Nomura like art there.
Yeah.
So like they have like classic art from throughout the series. And I love it because it reminds me of the... is it Ken Sugimori? I can't remember exactly. But there's like the beloved like illustrator. I love the classic like Pokemon art. That's like like the hand drawn. Like it reminds me of that. It harkens back to that like those good feelings of like nostalgic because people get very nostalgic about Final Fantasy. Like it's one of those things like because it's gone on for so long that like and they've kept it because each one's almost different.
Yeah,
the first 6 to I don't know. Like I'd say, well, I guess they all do tie in together. There are like universal themes.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that each game, different characters almost, like different worlds, different like there's like jobs almost, or like kind of like different positions in your team. Crystals are a big theme I've seen always throughout it, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's like kept momentum because like the names, like it ties it all together.
Yeah, and I think, like it's still about working together and being a team, and you're sacrificing and everything. The themes carry across, but yeah, those are completely different experiences. You know what I mean? And young people might look at like 1 through 6 and go, "What? This is not the same thing." And it's like, well, they're different. Okay, just enjoy it.
15, 16, and 7 remake went to like the third person like action adventure kind of style. I really like that. I know it's a total different departure though from the series, so I kind of get it though. I want to replay 13. The turn based is cool too. Like I played Dragon Quest, I believe it's 8 on PS2, and I've played 4 and 5, and they're good. They're turn based. I love them. They're real. The stories. That's the thing. Final Fantasy kills it on stories. Make you like cry. I know 10. I haven't played 10 yet. I want to. I've heard it's like
10's fantastic.
Yeah, 10 I've heard is just like really good, and the ending will just make you like want to bawl like a baby. I've heard so
great characters, man.
Yeah,
just hands down. And then Blitzball forever, dude.
Yeah,
forever.
That's what I like about it. Because I remember 16. It's like why'd you why? Yeah, it's so sad, but it's good. It's good. Yeah. But that's about all I had, unless you got some extras.
No, that was it for me.
All right, well, we are done here.
Done.
So, guys, thank you so much for paying attention and staying tuned in. This is 4th episode. We really appreciate you guys and all the feedback, the love, the interest. It's been an amazing journey, and we're going to keep on doing these. So if you guys ever have feedback, hit us up in the comments below and kind of, do what every YouTuber, every person does. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the like, follow, notifications. Follow him at the Real K0. So that way, show some love to the homies. And you can follow us at either Red Fox Gaming here or redfoxgamingonline.com for all of our socials. Guys, we really appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful week. See you later. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you.